In this video, I explain some of the most important self-improvement tips to help you to be successful in your life and naturally your career and everything that you do. But what's important is that they're not complicated, but yet so many people choose not to use them. Don't let that be you, and that's really, really important. So I've got 7 really important tips for you to use, and I'm just going to go through those 7 and then I'm going to go into them individually one by one. Now, the first step is review and reflect, create some thinking time. Step 2 is look forwards, plan backwards. Nice, interesting concept that. And it really does work. Step 3, cultivate confidence and competence. Really, really essential if you're going to develop and grow yourself and create this life of self-improvement. Step 4, network like a boss. And that is critical for your development and your future. Step 5 is the power of questions and great conversations. Often we'd spend too much time talking. I'm going to talk about all that and spend more time asking questions and listening. A great tip and a great skill to learn. Step 6, naturally, enthusiasm. If you can't be enthusiastic about you, who's going to do it for you? You'll hear that word quite a lot. And step 7, generate incredible momentum. So you don't just switch this off and go, yeah, that is all very good, and nothing ever happens. So there's 7 really, really important tips that we're going to work on, and they will make a difference, I promise you. Okay, step 1, review and reflect. You've got to create some thinking time. Now, I'm trying to become a master reflector. I'm not sure anybody else has come up with that phrase, but I've decided to come up with it because I've worked really hard on this to create more thinking time. So I always turn up early for everything that I do, be it meetings, work-wise, be it social events, if picking people up, children or whatever. I just always turn up early and it gives me some thinking time. Where am I going with all of this? And it gets me to sort of have little conversations with myself. And it really, really is important. And if you're not good at turning up on time or you're always late, perhaps that isn't going to work for you. But you may like to then think about scheduling some time into your calendar. In work or in life, outside of work, in the mornings or the evenings or at work or lunchtimes, go and have a cup of tea with yourself. Create some thinking time. Create an environment that you like. So is it sitting at home quietly in the garden? Is it lying on your bed thinking? Is it creating some time when no one else in the family is around? Perhaps all the children have gone to bed, or perhaps you like to get up early, go for a walk, take the dog for a walk. They're great to reflect with because they always listen, and they always listen so well. And get your notebook out. I'm a big fan of this. Use the back of your notebook and have some pages in there with some great questions to get you thinking, where am I going with all of this? What skills do I need? What's my business? What's my career going to look like in the future? Who do I need to network and contact with? It's all really important things. So that's step 1, to create some review and reflect time. Because, and you're going to hear this a lot as I've already said, if you don't do it for you, who's going to do it for you? Interesting thought. So that's step 1. Step 2, look forwards but plan backwards. Now, we're all a limited company. We sell our knowledge, our time, our wisdom, bundles of enthusiasm, of course, and in return we get paid a wage and sometimes other bonuses and other benefits. But the challenge is how we're going to keep the doors of our limited company open in this very, upside down world, as I call it, where we're not really sure what's going to happen. The only thing that is for sure and certain in life at the moment is that everything is uncertain. So you've got to start thinking, where are you going with this? So look forwards, spend some time goal setting and creating some plans. Think about, what my job is going to look like, what skills I'm going to need, what experiences am I going to need, and start planning some goals to go and learn these things. So you're looking forward. But then because you've looked forward, you can then plan backwards and then think, well, how do I get to those steps? And yeah, create a bit of a gap analysis and think of the little steps that you need to get you up each sections. Or when I've often got a big project on, I think, okay, my end goal is, for example, on the 1st of November, and I work backwards and think, yeah, how do I get that? And it's a really good technique. So big goals, lots of small steps in doing them. So look forwards, plan backwards. And yeah, enjoy that journey and get help and advice along the way from people that you know. So that's step 2. Look forwards, plan backwards. Step 3. Now, this is an area that I think most of us do struggle with, and that is cultivate confidence. But it's not just the confidence you need the confidence and the competence. So the competence is being really good at what you do. And yeah, really working hard and mastering your skill set. But the confidence will come with that, and your self-esteem. And it's important you spend some time reflecting on what you're good at. What have you learnt? What challenges have you overcome? And how are you going to continue to move forward outside of your comfort zone and take on some of those challenges? So we can develop our confidence. It's a bit like going to the gym. Learning to do press-ups or learning to cook or playing a musical instrument. You've got to reflect on things that you have done. Create really good examples of what you've done in the past, and that will give you the confidence to go and continue to try new things in the future. Plus also, you need to be able to talk positively about yourself. There's going to be lots of times in your life and your career and your job where people are going to say, why should I give you that job? Why should I give you that project? And if you can't talk confidently and competently about yourself and explain in detail what you're good at, who's going to do it for you? So get your CV out and just look through that and look at the examples that you've had in your career of things that have gone well. Perhaps you might want to turn it into a PowerPoint slide deck with lots of examples of your experiences, your challenges that you've overcome. And it's a great way to storyboard your career, and then you start to think, gosh, look what I've done. Look what I can do now that I couldn't do 2 years ago. Look what I can do now that I couldn't do 6 months ago if you're fairly new into a job. Think of all those difficult situations where you've had imposter syndrome and you thought, am I good enough to do this? But you've done it. It's a really, really important step to take. Cultivate confidence, but make sure you add in the competence bit. As I say, confidence and competence. People want you to demonstrate it. If you're working with clients, they want to demonstrate it. Why would they give you their money if you can't demonstrate confidence and competence? Your bosses and people at work, your directors, your team members, people around you, your family, they all want you to be confident and have confidence. Step 4. Now, this is... If I'd have known this when I'm in my 20s, life would have been so much easier. Network like a boss. And it's really important you start creating, good contacts with people. I have an inner circle, 4 or 5 people that I totally trust. I then have a slightly outer circle with people that I know quite well that are good to go to. And then I have a third circle of just people, acquaintances and people that I know. And yeah, sometimes I tap into them. But the important things with networking is it is important you don't do the talking. Why? I'll explain all. So you know about you. You know about your life, your experiences, your knowledge, your wisdom. I know all of that about me. So when you speak to people, don't talk about you. Get them talking about them. Because then you get to learn. You get to learn about their experiences, their lives, how they see things. Don't tell them they're wrong. Ask them why they think that way. Try and surround yourself with people that think differently to you. Because then you know what you know, which is great. I know what David knows. But if I find out lots about other people, I then learn what they know. Surely that puts me at an advantage in life. So don't go around telling people and doing all the talking, cutting people's sentences off. Let them talk. Let them give you free learning, free information. 1, people will like you for it. And 2, you will learn lots more and you can use these contacts for your benefit. And there's quite often, I know I shouldn't be saying this because I should know all the answers, but sometimes even David needs some help. But there's certain people that I do phone up and go, well, what do you think about this? How do you see that? I'm interested in how they see it. It's not all about what I see and what I think. So network like a boss. Be really, really good at asking great questions. And that's going to be really important for step 5. It's great to see that you're still with me. And because of that, I'd like to offer you a free download. And I'm sure you're going to find this download really helpful in managing your self-improvement and future-proofing yourself for the rest of your career. It's everything you need to take your personal development to the next level. If that interests you, there's a link to the free download in the description below. Okay, on to step 5. I've already given you a bit of a hint what this is under Network Like a Boss, which was step 4. The power of questions. Have you got any young people in your family? Or perhaps you can remember back to when you were young, sort of 7 or 8. Did you ask lots of questions? I had the privilege recently of my brother-in-law, who's a grandparent, and his grandchildren came over for the weekend. And I just loved sitting there because they were so inquisitive. How does that work? Why do you do that? They even might ask my daughter, who's 23, Rebecca, why don't you tidy up after yourself? Which I just actually thought was priceless. But they were just so brilliant at asking questions and being inquisitive and then having conversations between themselves about all sorts of things. So my challenge to you, my thought to you is, are you still inquisitive? Are you going around asking lots of people questions, trying to learn more about them? And yeah, I think if you do ask questions, as I've said about Network Like a Boss in step 4, if you show interest in people, people then just automatically like you more. And they think, oh, you're interesting. Not that you've done any talking, you've just listened. So be a great listener, be a great understander. Don't tell people that they're wrong. Don't argue and say, oh no, you're wrong and I think my point of view is more important. Just understand how people see things and why they see that way. And just ask yourself and write it perhaps on a note or put a message on your phone. Be inquisitive, because it's the people that ask the best questions get the best information. And the people with the best information in life create the best solutions. It's not rocket science. It's very simple, but very, very effective. So get out there, ask great questions, get the best answers, create the best solutions. Okay, so we're up to step 6. Enthusiasm. You've got to have bundles of it. Enthusiasm is infectious. Is yours worth catching? I don't know where I got that quote from. It's always stuck in my head. But it's really, really important. I'm not talking about being Tigger and bouncy on E-numbers. But yeah, just be enthusiastic about things. You can be quietly enthusiastic, or you can show, yeah, that's really great, that's wonderful. Or you can just show an interest in people and show enthusiasm that way. Linked in with this, I guess it's about also understanding what your motivation is and what motivates you. I'm motivated by challenges and new things. Are you motivated by security? Are you motivated by money? Are you motivated by recognition? Are you motivated by learning, doing new things? Are you motivated by just doing a good job and having great job satisfaction? Now, if this is an area that you feel you need to develop a bit more, perhaps we need to have a conversation. Or perhaps you need to have some conversations with other people about what motivates them, and therefore what motivates you. Then you know what buttons to press in the morning, and perhaps on days that you don't really feel as motivated and as enthusiastic as you should. Sometimes you've got to chip yourself before you get into the working environment. I often have to do this as a trainer, as a presenter, as a coach. I can't turn up and look at people and go, whole day with you. I really don't need this. So what's your body language saying to people? Enthusiasm wins the day. It's really, really important. And as I keep saying, if you can't be enthusiastic about you, how do you expect other people to be enthusiastic about you? So there again, all these steps, it's about things that we can do for ourselves. So that's step 6. Enthusiasm. Is yours worth catching? Okay, last step, step 7. generate incredible momentum. How are you going to keep things going? You sit down and you plan all these things, then after a couple of days or a week, it's I've got bored with that. How do you keep it going? Well, there's several tips here that are really important. One, to write them down. There again, I've talked about the notebook, back of your notebook. Front of notebook is to-do lists and all the things you've got to do. Back of the notebook are the things that you want to work on. So you create your reflection, which was step one. See, it all comes together now. And you need to keep looking back and reflecting and, yeah, creating that momentum. It's fine to have down days and a bit of procrastination, but as long as that doesn't last too long. I always say only Sunday afternoons are good for procrastination. Otherwise, yeah, we've got to be on it. So that's a good way of creating incredible momentum. The other way is to share. So who could you share things with? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a good manager that you can share your ideas and your aspirations with? And they can keep asking you questions. If that doesn't quite work, are there other people, perhaps a buddy at work or someone that you trust or a good friend? You could share your thoughts and your aspirations with them. Another way of doing it is having what I call accountability group, where you just keep in contact with, say, 4 of you. So there's 3 others and you, that makes 4. And you meet perhaps on Teams or on Zoom, or if you can do it face-to-face, great, an hour once every 2 weeks. And you just share your aspirations and things that have gone well and your goals and the actions that you've got to do for the following 2 weeks. Then you meet again in 2 weeks and then you share again. And because you see that other people are doing things, you think, well, if they're doing it, I need to be doing it. Plus also, if you do share your goals and your aspirations and the thing you want to work on, it does generate incredible momentum and it keeps you going. It's going back a bit like to network like a boss in step 4. You've got to work hard at this. And there's that phrase again. Yeah, if you don't do it, who's going to do it for you? So remember, that is so, so important. So there's the 7 steps. Let's just go through them. Step 1, review and reflect. Step 2, look forwards, plan backwards, make things happen. Step 3, I think is really, really important. Cultivate confidence, but don't forget the competence. Step 4, network like a boss. Step 5, the power of questions. Open people up. Be inquisitive. Step 6, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is infectious. Is yours worth catching? Step 7, generate that incredible momentum. So you can keep on going, keep on going. Surround yourself with people that are positive and they will make you accountable for your actions. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like and comment below. That would be wonderful. And yeah, till the next one, I'll see you then.